First, a model question and answer for the previous topic. The previous topic that we discussed was social changes in Europe, modernity, social changes in Europe, and the emergence of sociology. Mm, I tried to, I looked at all the questions, and all of them have the same pattern. Mostly they're 15-mark questions. As far as that topic is concerned, it's the same question again and again with one of the subtopics. So basically, I will show you the model question, and I'll give you a model answer. Now, something that you need to understand about UPSC is, uh, do not imagine that if you write something really exotic, if you write something that nobody else has written, some weird source, you picked up something and you managed to show, don't imagine that will automatically fetch you marks or reward you. Actually, that is not the case. On the contrary, uh, there is a very clear key kind of a thing, and the closer your answer is to the key, the higher you score. And it doesn't make sense if you try to uh, write anything. So it's important that you stick to the model answers that I. So almost after every topic, I will give you and discuss with you questions from the previous year on that topic and how your answer should be depending on the question. Luckily, the questions usually have a formula. So if you manage to understand the model answer that I give you, you will be able to exactly fit the answer to the question, and that will reward you with the highest marks. Starting with the model question. Now, if you look at any of the questions in the previous years pertaining to the earlier topic, which is modernity and social changes in Europe and the emergence of sociology. Now, if you look at that topic, all the questions can be summarized into the way I put it, which is the question will be something like, how has enlightenment led to the emergence of sociology? Or what are the intellectual forces that led to the emergence of sociology? Or it will be, how has French Revolution led to the emergence of sociology? Industrial Revolution. How has modernization of Europe led to the emergence of sociology? It will be one of these 5 topics, never outside it, never inside it. This is part of the syllabus. The question will be led to, in the place of led to, it could be gave birth to, or something like that. That much you will understand. I mean, that much you know. So basically, this is the question for that topic. This is the only question that will come. Now, how do you answer it? First, you start with an introductory para that restates your basic position, which is the discipline of sociology emerged primarily as a response to the intellectual and social changes that came with modernization of Europe. An important component of those changes includes, and there you insert whatever. So the question will not have all of them. It will have only one of them. It will have either Enlightenment or French Revolution or modernity in Europe, and then it will say led to the emergence of. So there you will insert that topic, which is, and an important component of those changes is the French Revolution. Then you go on, part of the introductory para itself, you go on to explain French Revolution refers to, or you'll say Industrial Revolution refers to. And then, if you remember the previous classes, the French Revolution refers to an overthrow of monarchy in place of democracy. And quickly, in 3 or 4 bullet points, you will explain the French Revolution, or you will explain Industrial Revolution. You will explain Enlightenment. Enlightenment is the rise of reason. It is the age of reason. It is discarding away with old orthodox beliefs and giving rise to scientific temperament, belief in reason, belief in human progress, belief in the promise of empirical evidence, observation, and science. That's it, enlightenment. If you look at the previous PPT, which you have, the notes you have, you will just explain whatever that topic is given, that topic you will explain. Now, that constitutes your introductory para. You're basically saying, yes, sociology emerged out of modern Europe, and that topic, whatever is the only, see, this is the problem. Many times when I've corrected earlier times sociology paper, especially students who didn't really get coaching or didn't get proper guidance, or they read by themselves, they will dump everything. So the moment it's asking about enlightenment, they will talk about enlightenment and industrial revolution and modernity in Europe and everything. No, don't do that. Stick to whatever is the question and only write about that. If it is about modernity in Europe, you will directly say modernity in Europe refers to a change in attitude from, okay, again, last time we discussed what is modernity in Europe. That definition you will write. Last time in the PPT, the definition itself is very clearly given. You will write that definition. Again, remember, don't have to memorize it, wrote it and write it. Get a hang of it, get an understanding of it, and write it in your own words. It is acceptable. You are not PhD scholars, you are not researchers, you are simple, preparing for bureaucracy. The relevance of this is how well and how deep and how clearly you understand a subject, not whether you can quote exactly as it is, not necessary. But the structure of the answering is what you should focus on. For this question, the answer has to be like this only. Do not experiment and do not write anything that is unnecessary, because the moment you write something, so if the question is about French Revolution and you start writing how technology came, how machines came, how cotton mills came, or if you start writing all that, your marks will start going down, because that is not part of the model answer. The model answer will have only what French Revolution is. And in French Revolution, again, don't write the history of it. In 1950, the tennis war happened. In 1960, this happened. In 1970, the fall of Bastille. Don't give a historical timeline of things. Not necessary. Just give what is French Revolution even entail for sociology, for the society as a whole. Focus on that. Don't go into the details of timeline and all that. So there it is just a small para, because literally all you have for 15 marks is 150 words. Very small. Write that. So, and then go on to write how that revolution, whether it's Enlightenment or French Revolution or Industrial Revolution, the next para that you write is how that brought about the changes in Europe. What changes did it bring in Europe? Some of the changes I have listed it for you. You will pick only what is relevant to that topic. So some of the changes that happened is, so these factors led to the massive transformation of human life, brought about by the creation of, so if it is Industrial Revolution, you will write creation of wage labor, capitalist competition, increased mobility, urbanization, things like that. We've discussed in the previous class. Or if it is about, say, enlightenment or intellectual changes, you will write about individualism, you will write about scientific temperament, you will write about the fall of church, or or separation of church from state, things like that. You will write about, because of all this, common social problems that you can always write for any of those answers are social problems like poverty, exploitation, dangerous working conditions. This is the first time, right? Before that, people worked in their own households, in their backyards. But now you're going to a factory which, unlike today, where there are labor laws to protect the health, safety, and interest of the worker, in those days, there were no labor laws, which means exploitative conditions, dangerous working conditions, crime started increasing because there was huge social inequality. Suddenly the rich became very, very rich, the poor became very, very poor. There was not even a land or food for people to live by. Therefore, crime increased a lot. There was filth, there was disease. Suddenly, so many people started coming and living in very poor conditions, very unhygienic conditions. This is Europe of at least 200 years back. There were no by then we didn't have city design, urban design, what we have now. So there was no drainage system, there was no sanitation system, there was no municipalities. This is before all of that, which meant there is waste, there is industrial waste, there is human waste, there is organic waste, there is agricultural waste. All of that leads to pollution, leads to disease. Another problem was the loss of family system. I told you last time also, I explained how because of the Industrial Revolution or because of the factory system, family system broke. So all of this, I just gave you a model answer. You can pick whatever is relevant to that particular topic and write those changes that came about because of that particular topic. Yeah, millions of people were moving into cities and many people were turning away from their traditional religious beliefs. Wars, strikes. Yeah, this is also important. Also, it was a time of great social and political upheaval, with the rise of empires that exposed many people for the first time to societies and cultures other than their own. This is colonialism, basically. that also led into a lot of changes. People realized ki, oh, our culture is not the only culture, our way of living is not the only way of living. There are many other civilizations, there are many other ways of living, because first time Europe discovered both America, the North and the South America, and also in a more integrated way started engaging with Asia, both East Asia and South Asia. So all of this leads to an exposure and a different way of thinking. So all of that happens. Wars, strikes, revolts, revolutionary actions were reactions to underlying social tensions that had never existed before and called for critical examination. And it is as an antidote, as a medicine to these changes that Auguste Comte, these changes are called moral anarchy. Auguste Comte comes them, and you can write a conclusion para saying that therefore sociology emerged as an extension of the new worldview of science, because by then I told you last time in the intellectual changes that there was a promise of science, because science in physical sciences was delivering technology, was delivering medicine, was delivering machines, was delivering power, electricity, a steam engine. uh, Electricity was a little later. Electricity was in the late 20th century, 19th century, but this is early 19th century we are talking about. So what you're seeing is that promise of science was taken, and we believed, thinkers believed, philosophers, that they believed that maybe they can use that same scientific method to also solve social problems. I told you last time, as a part of the Enlightenment project, its appreciation of historical change, social injustice, possibilities of social reform. And all of this is a crucial response to the social problems that appeared in the 19th century. Definitely, sociology did not emerge as a unified science. However, its founders brought distinctly different perspective to its early formulations. Here, you can talk about, say, if it is industrial revolution, you can talk about Karl Marx a little. You can say Marx was concerned with the social inequality and the crime and the alienation. Now, what to say, you will know as we go into the course, because as we go into the course, we are going to deal with each of these thinkers very specifically: Karl Marx, Max Weber, Emil Durkheim. So you will know what to put in here. But here you will tell, nearly all early sociologists, including again the list, Marx, Weber, Durkheim, were responding to this great transformation, and therefore it is held that whatever that topic is, French Revolution or Industrial Revolution, led to the emergence of sociology. That is your conclusion. In this, your 150 words are covered. Don't go outside it. Stick to the model, and you'll be able to get the best marks possible.